When morning arrived, Mystery Inc. and the Hex Girls left Dog's Stockade with Lunar to Prenect 13. Ox had decided to stay behind to help Jody with the baby, which the gang were okay with, seeing that Ox cared about Jody and her baby. Getting to Prenect 13 was tough, but they eventually got there without anyone dying along the way, except for the zombies. Chief Jackson arrived at the gates with his men to let the gang inside with their vehicles, and they went through some procedures before they could continue. Once they had gotten settled in, Chief Jackson went towards Mystery Inc. and the Hex Girls in the interrogation room. They were all on chairs, unsure of what was going on. They weren't arrested or did anything wrong like that, but Chief Jackson wanted to get to the reason why they were there, and etc. Alright, before we begin, Dog told me that you are Mystery Inc. as well as the Hex Girls, Jackson asked. Yes, Chief, that's correct, Daphne honestly answered. And you're dealing with 2 cat creatures, is that so? Jackson asked again. Yes, we're also dealing with 2 scientists as well, Foreign sighed honestly, while answering Jackson's question. One of the cat creatures is dead, and one of the scientists were bitten and turned into one of those things out there. Okay, now let me get this straight, Jackson began before opening up a file containing info of Mystery Inc. and the Hex Girls. Your friend Rose Martin said that she was attacked by a mutated zombie. She also stated that her men were killed during the attack. Well, here's the catch. I was on a mission with my men when I saw her injured badly. My men sacrificed their lives so I could get to her. She's good now, but she's resting. That's good that she's okay. But does she know what attacked her? Velma asked. She said no, mainly because when I saved her, she was too injured to speak about what happened. But from what I might describe on what the mutated zombie killed her men and attacked her was this. Chief Jackson showed a photo of a mutated zombie on his phone. The zombie was at an abnormal position with an extra sets of arms and legs. What is that zombie? I've never seen him before, Luna said. That we call a spider. There is a giant version of it, and it is 10 times more powerful than the normal spider, and they are dangerous, Jackson replied. Then showed the gang a few more photos of the new and stronger infected. Next we have the tendril, the tentacle-armed zombie with tentacles for arms. We've encountered one at one point. Daphne and I were nearly killed by them, Fred said. So you've seen them. Well, I recommend you staying away from their tentacles. They can be deadly if not avoided, Chief Jackson continued. Then pulled out another photo. Brutes are the next stronger ones. Their vomits can reach further than the irradiated zombies. And as for the next one, is called a leaper. They can kill survivors within one hit of their attacks, no matter what gear or how skilled they are. How can they kill you in one hit? I thought that was only in movies, Foreign commented. I have no idea. That's a question I can't answer honestly. There is a hellhound and they're only located in the wasteland of Fairview, but it's extremely dangerous to go to. Lots of soldiers and survivors never make it out alive, Chief Jackson said. We have a book that will stop the dead and make the world go back to normal, Daphne said, showing Chief Jackson the book. We found it near Dog's Stockade, and it will break the spell. As Chief Jackson peeked at the book, he found the spell and the instructions on how to break it. There's a spell in here that shows how to break it. You have to do some things in order to do so, Jackson said. What do you mean? What do we have to do? Fred asked. You have to kill 3 of the cat creatures. Head to the wasteland of the south of us. Once you're there in the wasteland, you will have to perform the spell there. Once you do, the zombies will disintegrate and everything will be back the way it is. Or was in that case. Jackson answered Fred's question. Isn't the wasteland dangerous? Velma asked. It does sound dangerous by the sound of it. Yes, it is, but we'll find a way to get you there safely without dying. Those things are going to be on you very quickly when you enter, so I would suggest having strong weapons. Jackson then got up from his chair upon saying that. I killed one of the cat creatures and they did try to attack me at Dog Stockade, Thorne said to Jackson, showing her bandaged arm up. It attacked me and reopened my wound. I wasn't bitten. A reaper's sharp blade cut my arm in a fight back there. At least you were lucky. I've seen worse, Jackson replied. With the Hex Girls and Mystery Inc. in Precinct 13, they found Rose Martin in the common area. It was only her in the room. Their question was, where were the other people of Jackson's hideout? On missions? Guard duty? It was anyone's guess, but they were so glad to see Rose Martin. They walked up towards her with the book in hand, and Rose can see the gang and invites them to sit with her at the table, the common area. Why aren't you resting, Rose? Fred asked. I felt a bit better. I needed a place to think. Rose sighed as she slumped down in the table. I lost my men during that fight. A zombie called a spider killed them. Was it like the normal one Jackson described it, or was it the giant? Dusk asked. It was a giant. We killed the normal spiders, and even when we saw the flaming ones, we had to use rockets to take it down. Once we did that, we were attacked by the giant one. I'm assuming it's the leader of the spiders, Rose explained. Do you suppose you have plans to kill it? Daphne asked. I do. I want to rip its frickin' head off for what it did to my men, Rose snapped, leaving the common area as she did. Scooby and Shaggy hid behind the Hex Girls when Rose snapped. She's not angry at us, and surely she didn't mean to snap at us, Velma reassured Shaggy and Scooby. Yeah, like she sounds like she wants our heads, Shaggy replied nervously. Rah! Scooby added. I think we should kill that giant spider ourselves, Luna suggested. Since asking Rose is out of the question, she probably doesn't even know about where it is. That is true. Perhaps we should all go kill it. Justice for Rose's men. And for the soldiers that Jackson lost during that big fight, Thorne added. It sounds risky, though. Scoob and I will stay here, Shaggy said, not liking the idea that the gang had in mind. When Shaggy and Scooby tried to walk away, Thorne grabbed Shaggy's shirt, while Daphne grabbed Scooby's collar. No being chickens today, you two. We are doing this together, whatever you like it or not, Daphne said. Yeah, and Shaggy, you better not chicken out on this like you always do, Thorne added. What is the catch for this? Shaggy asked. If you do what we ask, we'll give you all the food you can eat when this blows over, Daphne replied, then turned to Scooby, before getting a box of Scooby snacks. You two will want one of these. As Daphne bribed the two goofballs, Shaggy and Scooby then took and ate 3 of the Scooby snacks given to them. Like, okay, as long as we all stay together, Shaggy stated. As the sun was setting, the Hex Girls along with Mystery Inc. headed out of Precinct 13. They were going to kill the giant spider, the monster that killed Rose's men. It was justice for Rose. The gang wanted revenge on what the monster did to Rose's men. Rose was even lucky that she wasn't even killed or turned into one of them. But the gang had to prepare. Fred got out a flashlight and started to light the way, since it was starting to get dark. I hope we'll make it through this alive, Dusk said, unsure of what to think or say. I'm sure we will, as long as we do what I said we do, Fred reassured Dusk. Where is this giant spider located? Luna asked. I know where the giant spider is, and I can help you, a voice said. It turned out to be Lunar. He had followed the game outside of Precinct 13 and somehow figured out their plan. How did he find out was a mystery. Lunar? How did you know about this? Luna asked. I kinda overhear you all doing and figured that you could use an extra pair of hands, Lunar offered. If you know where that giant spider is, mind if you take the lead? Fred asked Lunar as he liked the offer, so he took the front and led the gang through the cities. They kept walking through the left of Fairview, seeing a trail of dead bodies from the zombies along the way. Rose seems to be in distress. Hopefully she'll be okay, Daphne said to Fred. I sure hope so too, Daph. She's kinda worrying me a little, Fred replied. I fear that Rose may go insane, possibly do God knows what, Thorne stated. A chill ran down her spine, thinking about the dark and messed up possibilities that could happen. Like what if she turns her back on us? Shaggy asked Thorne. That may be possible, but yet again, I don't know her very well, Thorne replied. Then she saw a large dead body in the middle of the road. This is odd. When we drove by here, we didn't see this on the road. It looked like it was killed a while ago, Velma said, inspecting the dead body of one of the mutated zombies. That happens to be a Titan. He seems to have dropped something, Lunar said, inspecting the body to find a weapon inside. This is a rocket launcher. How could have had one? Velma asked, confused as to how would a Titan have a rocket launcher. No idea, but this could be useful, Lunar said. Then they found some more mutated zombie bodies. One of them was a Wraith, and it had a Wraith cannon with a Gatling gun with unlimited ammo. There were more dead bodies of mutated zombies that could have been killed before. Who could have killed them? Daphne asked. Either soldiers or survivors, but whoever killed them, I sure hope they're okay. Thorne sighed. That saw something that ran down the alleyway of one of the buildings. I saw something, Thorne said. Then she, along with her friends, ran after the thing that ran past them. After chasing whatever it was for a while, they found a crate in the alleyway that they went down. What was this you saw? Fred asked. I have no idea, but it was hunched over on its back when it ran down here, but it disappeared, Thorne answered. Oh, well, no one's here. Time to eat, Shaggy said, acting like a goofball. Row, let's row, Scooby added, but Fred and Velma blocked their paths. Not yet, Shaggy. We need to focus here, Velma stated, as Thorne examined the crate. I'm gonna need a crowbar to open this up, Thorne instructed, as Lunar looked to find a crowbar on the ground. As he handed the crowbar to Thorne, she pried the crate open inside. Inside the crate, she found something that was unbelievable. What's inside this crate? Luna asked, looking at the crate. Hey, Thorne can see that there were vials of some serum inside them. They're vials, but they look like serum or some sort of vaccine, Thorne replied, guessing that was it. Not at all. On the side of the crate it reads, Secretaricom Bunker. So that is where this is coming from. But why is it doing here? Velma asked. Someone must have stolen them and hid them here, but I have no idea who would do that, Daphne asked, just as a cat creature stepped into the darkness of the alleyway. Well, you've opened up to fall into here, a voice said. It was Lena in her cat creature form. Lena? You stole this crate? Fred questioned. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't, Lena chuckled, before charging over to try to attack everyone. Fred had managed to dodge their attacks before plunging a killing blow to her skull, the axe hitting her head. As the axe made contact with Lena's skull, blood started to pour from her wound of the axe, before choking in her own blood. However did that being the case, was anyone's mystery. Then she fell down to her death. Holy shit, Shaggy said, breathing in almost a panic. That is 2 cat creatures down. I kinda knew she may have stolen it, Fred stated, then checked the cat creature's body for any clues of Lena being the one who stole the vials from Secretarchon bunker. No traces of her stealing the vials. I see no sign of it anywhere. So she didn't steal them then. She must have led us here to try to trap us, Lunar explained. Then she picked up the axe from being plunged into Lena's skull, then throwing the body in the shadows. So if Lena didn't steal the crate, it could either be Simone, Max, or Laura, Thorne said. Estimating who would have stolen the vials, it was just her guess. She wasn't really sure. Then she started to place the vials in a bag that the gang were carrying, seeing that carrying the crate would be impossible to do without wearing anyone out by carrying it. As Fred radioed Chief Jackson about their progress, he did say whoever stole the vials from Secretarchon bunker has to be stopped. When Fred asked about the vials and what they are, Jackson said that they were some serum to monitor the mutations or something. But there was little to no explanation on what it does, since no one outside of Secretarchon bunker has been tested. We'll have to head over to Secretarchon bunker and take those vials back to them, Daphne said. Like, that's a smart idea, Daphne. After all, taking things without asking is never a good idea. Right, Scoob? Shaggy asked, saying that to his buddy, who was looking at the crate containing the vials. Reggie, what a road idea, Scooby nodded in agreement. As the gang headed out on their journey, they came across a nest made out of buildings, and there was a giant spider laid, which has a number of the mutated zombies. Mystery Inc. and the Hex Girls needed a plan, as there was no way they could take them down with all the guns they have. It was going to be a hard thing to do so. So they had to make plans to use the wisest weapon to kill them all. I think I may have an idea, and it might work, Velma said, getting the gang to huddle up near her. We can set the whole nest on fire, and that should kill them all. Like, are you sure that will work, Velma? Shaggy asked, unsure if this plan was the brightest one Velma had came up with. Yeah, I'm sure it'll work. We'll just have to set some of these C4s on the nest. Once we do that, we can get as far away as possible and press the red button. And that way the nest of the spiders and of the giant spider will be obliterated, Velma replied, pulling out some explosive weapons. Explosives and dangerous. My kind of mission, Thorne smirked, liking where this idea was going. Not in the way you may think, Shaggy, Thorne chuckled as she sounded a bit more submissive. Who wants to set the C4s around? Velma asked. Scooby and Shaggy then offered to do that, so they took the C4s and entered the nest. Once they were in the nesting area, they all set the explosives all around the nest. They had to do it quickly and quietly, so that way they didn't disturb any of the spiders from their sleep. After that was taken care of, Shaggy and Scooby exited out of the nest, heading towards the school bus that had fallen over. The rest of the gang were hiding behind there, so they could take cover when the nest gets blown up. Did you place the explosives? Velma asked. Like, we sure did, Velma. Ready to blow up the nest? Shaggy asked Scooby as he grabbed the explosive remote. Yeah, ready to roll, Scooby said, then hit the button on the remote. Once he hit the button, there was a loud and big explosion. The explosives exploded inside the nest, where the mutated zombie spiders were. They had no idea what hit them until the last second. Since they were asleep, they hadn't noticed anything suspicious. Once the explosives blew, fire was setting all over the corpses and the buildings where the nest was. Fred peeked them from the side of the school bus, seeing that all the mutated zombie spiders were dead, since they were blown up into pieces. The gang had got rid of the giant spider that nearly killed Rose Martin. Everyone is dead, gang. I think it's safe to say that we got justice for Rose, Fred announced. We have to tell her about this when we get back. I sure hope she's okay, Thorn said, before being pulled aside by Lunar, who had also pulled Dusk and Luna as well. I've told the gang about this earlier, but since you three were busy forming up a plan, I have to tell you this now. It's now or never, Lunar stated. Is this about Rose? Luna asked. Yes, it is, and I believe she's lost her sanity or something. Jackson told me that she wanted to know where Mystery Inc. was, and that they would lead her to the bunker, or whatever the hell she said. Lunar sighed in frustration by what Rose was saying. She's talking to herself, saying all of that? Why so? Thorn questioned. I have no idea, but when she lost her men, she must have lost her sanity and started to act up. I have a feeling she'll do something stupid, but yet again, I don't know what's up with her. Lunar sighed, then Fred showed up, seeing the Hex Girls and Lunar talking. Rose has been acting strange. I guess the zombie apocalypse has taken a toll on her more than we thought, Fred guessed. As they started to head out again, they came across a trail of blood on the road. Upon examining the blood, Velma discovered that it was either blood from the zombies, survivors, or even from the cat creatures. Since Lena and Jacques were dead, the only cat creature that is alive is Simone, but since they have no idea where she could be or hiding. All of a sudden, a foul smell hit the air, causing everyone to cover their faces and gag at the smell. It was a smell of rotting, half-eaten corpses, but no one could tell what it was. Daphne, however, vomited beyond the smell of it, causing the gang to gag even more. Lunar then could see a trail of blood leading to one of the warehouses in the south of Fairview. As the gang got closer, the trail of blood led to the front of the warehouse door. Lunar opened it to reveal a very shocking discovery. Upon opening the door, he and the gang stepped inside the warehouse to follow the trail of blood, only to have it stopped in front of a forklift. There, lying in front, was a half-eaten, rotting corpse of Simone as the cat creature. Some bones and intestines and organs were half-eaten and rotting. The smell hit the gang harder than it did, making Fred vomit due to the smell overwhelming him. Soon Shaggy vomited as well. It must have been Simone. She's half-eaten and a corpse, Velma replied, doing her best not to gag. How long ago was this? Dusk asked. It looks like this corpse has been eaten and rotting for 3 to 5 days, Lunar answered. Batten at the back of the corner, to the left of the first floor of the warehouse, there was another blood trail. Ford walked past the corpse of Simone, having her gun ready to hit whatever was beyond there. What surprised her the most was even worse than a cat creature. Ford walked up closer with the flashlight in her hand with her gun, seeing a corpse of a woman. She was sitting up and had a huge bite mark on her shin. She also had a bullet hole to the left side of her head, and it happened to be Laura, one of the scientists that the gang had dealt with in Scorpion Ridge during the whole alien fiasco. I found one of the scientists. She looks like she was bitten and took in her own life, just so she couldn't become one of them, Thorn called out. Then she ran towards Thorn's direction, seeing the corpse as well. It looks like she didn't want to turn, Shaggy said, seeing the corpse. That's what I said. She was bitten on the shin. Thorn pointed out where the bite was. There was also a chunk of flesh taken out from when Laura was bitten. Doesn't look like anyone is here. No survivors, Lunar assumed. And seeing that that was the case for the warehouse, seeing that the wood was rotten and wouldn't hold up in a fight or a huge one of zombies. This warehouse looks abandoned, and no one ever could last long in there, even if they tried to hold it out, Daphne said, examining how rotten the wood was. Not even a strong enough would be able to hold off a horde. This place has been abandoned for years. We should blow this place up. Only if we had explosives, Dusk said. Then Scooby was pawing at the metal door. Scoob, what is in that door? Shaggy asked, noticing Scooby pawing at the metal door. Reggie, roar rusted and ready to rent In, Scooby said, as Shaggy then turned to the handle of the metal door. It was unlocked and easy to get in, since the lock was super rusty. Like, you're right, Scoob. Hey guys, Scooby just found something in this door. Let's see what's in here, Shaggy called out. Then he and Scooby walked inside through the metal door. As they walked inside, they found a lot of gasoline in containers, along with a few lighters. Daphne tested one of the lighters out, and most of them had juice left inside, and she felt dangerous. Seeing that she had a grin on her face, a mischievous grin, devilish grin, Fred noticed that and then looked at his girlfriend. She had an idea. Why do you look so mischievous, Daph? Is there something you have in mind? Fred asked, only teasing Daphne. Not just that, but I have an idea with lighters we found. And with the gasoline, Daphne started. Then she picked up the gas can that had almost a full tank. How full are these? She asked. They're mostly full. One of them is half empty, Velma replied. We could set this warehouse on fire. It is the apocalypse after all, Daphne said. As the gang liked the idea, they began to pour the gasoline all over the warehouse. However, they were careful enough not to get any on them. Once they did that, they threw the lighters at the warehouse, causing it to burst in flames. Now this one is one show we'll never miss, Fred said, watching the warehouse burn. Once the rain clouds showed up, a real rainstorm started and soon put the fire out. They kept walking through the cities, killing any zombies that came across their path. Along their way, they found themselves in a parking lot. It had a couple of zombies around, but not too many. There was a bus that was used for school, so they found the keys and headed over towards the bus, only killing the ones that got close to them. By the time Fred got onto the driver's seat of the bus, he opened up with the keys and disabled the alarm. Once the alarm had been disabled, the gang headed inside the bus. However, when the bus's engine started, the sound of it attracted unwanted attention, causing the gang to hyperventilate. Shit, we gotta move fast! Shaggy screeched. Rhea! Scooby added. Alright, hang on, gang, Fred instructed as he pressed hard on the gas pedal, making the bus slowly pick up the pace as Fred drove it around the parking lot. After driving as fast as far as they could go, they had lost the zombies and continued to drive down the road. As they drove down the road, they did their best to avoid the zombies by not hitting their bodies that are dead on the road. It was due to the body parts clogging the wheel and axle that would most likely cause problems to the bus. So the gang kept driving. After driving for a while, they soon came across a section that they weren't familiar with in Fairview. Since they have driven for a long time, they didn't know how or where they are in Fairview. Fred, where are we? Shaggy asked. I don't know, Shaggy, but I know is that all this is not familiar to us. I've never been here this far out in Fairview. If only we had known we were here, or where we are, Fred answered. Honestly, the gang were lost and far away in Fairview. I don't recognize any of this, Lunar said, looking out of the window of the bus. I have a feeling that we're lost, Thorn sighed, agreeing with what Lunar said. Maybe a phone GPS can tell us where we are? Fred suggested. But since everyone tried, there was no signal on any of our phones. No signal on our phones, Fred. I hope we find help somewhere, Daphne replied. Since there's no zombies here, why don't we stop the bus to think? Velma suggested, seeing that they have been driving the bus for a long time. Great idea, and since I don't see anyone, let's park here for now so we can have some time to think, Fred said. Then he parked the bus as the gang sighed. They were lost, and neither of them knew where in Fairview they were at. As the gang all sighed in frustration, not knowing where they were, it was very stressful for them, even for the Hex girls. They were too stressful to make any puns or sing. Everyone was silent for a while, maybe for about a minute or two, when a knock was heard from the doors of the bus.